So it's Professor Shoemaker here with a quick video on wildcards. Wildcards sometimes confuse students, so let's take a look at them. First of all, wildcards are for working on text. They don't have anything to do with numbers. So we're looking at cells that have words in them and part numbers and that kind of stuff. There's only two wildcard characters, and you need to really get both of these nailed. An asterisk and a question mark. That's it. This is usually, I call these stars. That's the geeky name for them. So let's go in and look at this. What we've got here is a set of sales orders with customers and phones and the widget that was purchased, the quantity and the price. So what I want to do is count up or show the number of sales orders for SN95 type widgets. Well, let's look at the widgets. An SN95 type widget is any widget that begins with an SN95. So here's one, there's another, there's at least one more in here. There it is. Okay, so I should get 3 and maybe more if I missed one. So let's write a count if. Count if these columns are named, so I'm going to call this widget, comma, and then I'm going to put it, because I'm dealing with text here, SN95, and it's going to correct my little error, and I get 0. It's not what I expected. I expected at least 3. The reason I got a 0 is because there is no cell in the column here that has just an SN95 in it. Let's see what happens when I make one. SN95. And by golly, that didn't work. Oh, because I typed SB here, so let's fix that. And now I've got my 1. Okay? When I put this back to the kind of widget it was before, then I get a 0. What I want to do is write a function here that will only look at the first few characters of the name and try to match an SN95. For that, I need a wildcard character. All I want to match is any cell in here that begins with SN95. If it does, I don't care what happens after that. So to signal that I don't care what happens after the SN95, I put in a star up here. That says I want an SN95 followed by 0 or more of any character. And when I do that, now I get a count of 3. Because now it matched this guy and this guy and this one down here. Notice that I typed the SN in caps. That doesn't matter. It will match SN of any case. So if I made this an S lowercase here, it's still going to count it. But if I put an X in the middle between 9 and 5, now it won't count it. So the asterisk means once I've found my SN95, I don't care what comes after that. So it can be followed by 0 or more characters. That means, by the way, if I type in SN95 here in the first cell, just that much, it will match. And that went up to 4. Because it's an SN95 followed by 0 characters. And that matched what the asterisk does. So that worked. Okay? Start with SN95 followed by anything. Let's go to the total number of items sold where the widget ends in a 52. So that's going to match this guy, and here it's probably, there's some more. There's a couple of them in here. So let's go equals count if widget, comma. Now I want something that is 0 or more characters and ends in a 52. 52, let's type that right. Okay. I found 5. So 1, 2, 3, there must be more here, 4, and I'm not going to spend the time looking for them, but they're out there. So what does this function say? 0 or more characters followed by a 5 and a 2. So with the asterisk in front instead of in the back like it was here, what this is saying, I want something that ends in a 52. And it found 5 of them in the list. Okay, so now we know how to search for something that begins with SN95 or ends with 52. But what about when the word that we're after or the characters we're after is anywhere in the text? Flux, for example. Here's a widget that ends in flux. Here's a widget with flux in the middle. And there's one here that begins with flux. I want to count all 3 of those. So what I'm going to do is write count if widget, comma, my criteria is flux. So if I type with this, of course, I'm going to get 0 because there are no widgets that are just plain flux. But since I want the letters FLUX anywhere in the widget name, if I put an asterisk at the beginning of this and another one at the end, then I say 0 or more characters followed by FLUX followed by 0 or more characters. So this will scan anywhere in the word for the occurrence of those 4 characters in a row. And now I get a 3. So it counted this one because it was 0 or more characters followed by FLUX followed by 0 characters. This one has characters in front of it or after it, so 0 or more, that works. And this one down here, same thing, begins with flux, so it has 0 characters in front of it, it can begin with it, and it ends with a black 57.